Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to look at changing a recurring decimal into a fraction. I'm going to look at three different examples. Now I said different, they're actually all pretty much the same. If you can do this with one decimal, you can do it with all of them. It's not difficult to do. Follow the instructions in this first example where I've laid it all out. The first thing you do is write your decimal equal to x, or any letter at all, it doesn't really matter. So in this case, we're going to change 0.4 recurring. You can see I've written x equals 0.4 recurring, and under that, I've written 0.4444, so on and so forth, just to give me an idea of what it actually looks like. You don't have to write 0.444444, but it does make the question a little easier to understand sometimes. I'm going to multiply that by a factor of 10. Basically, you're just moving your decimal point along one spot. And 10x will be 4.4444. Note that I've multiplied both sides by 10. Also note here, I'm underlining in red that both of these have the same decimal. They're both 0.4 recurring. Because they both have the same decimal, we can subtract our two lines. We want to do 10x, take away x, and we want to do 4.4 recurring, take away 0.4 recurring. The point of that is that the 0.4 recurrings should disappear and cancel out. Now, of course, we know that 10x take away 1x is 9x, and then 0.4 recurring take away 0.4 recurring basically is the same as 4 take away 0, which is just 4. And we've got rid of all the recurring decimals at this point. So here we just have to divide both sides by 9 to give us 1x. So x is 4 divided by 9, and if we check that on a calculator, 4 divided by 9, typing it in, pressing SD to change it, I can see it's 0.4 recurring. Okay, we're going to try a different example, 0.53 recurring this time. Following the same steps as before, we write it x equals. I'm extending on the decimal a little bit so I understand exactly what it looks like. 0.53333333. Note only the 3 recurs, not the 5, because the dot is only over the 3. As before, I'm multiplying that by 10. But in this case, that's not much of a use, because if I look carefully, the first one is 0.53 recurring, and the second one has 0.3 recurring. They're not really compatible, so I'm multiplying it by 10 again. Now this time, if I look at 10x and 100x, they have the same decimal. I've underlined it there in red. They're both 0.3 recurring. Once they have the same decimal, that's the point at which you can then subtract them. So if we do 100x, take away 10x, we also take away the other sides, 53.3 recurring, take away 5.3 recurring. The 0.3s cancel out, they disappear. So we're always looking to make sure that the decimals are the same on each side. Now, obviously, 100 take away 10 is 90. And since the 0.3s recurring disappear here, we're actually doing 53 take away 5. 53 take away 5 is, of course, 48. If we divide across by 90, x is the same as 48 divided by 90. And if you simplify that fraction, you should get 8 over 15. And here I am typing it into my calculator just to make sure, pressing SD, and I can see it's 0.53 recurring. Last example, 1.701 recurring. Now I'm just writing it out again so I understand which bits are recurring. It's 701, 701, so on and so forth. And once again, I'm multiplying it by 10. I'm looking to get the decimal points the same. So far they're different, so 10x didn't do me any good. So instead of 10, I'm trying 1,000. 1,000x is 170.170170. Now, if I look at those three things, none of them have the same decimal. None of them are any use yet. So I'm keep multiplying by 10. If I multiply by 10 again, I've got 1,000x. That's going to be the same as 0.701701. Now, looking carefully, I have two that have the same decimal. X and 1,000x both have 0.701 recurring as their decimal, so those will cancel out. So what I want to do is 1,000x take away 1x, and in the same way I'm taking away the other sides as well. 1701.701 recurring, take away 1.701 recurring. And again, because those decimals are the same, they will cancel out. 1,000 take away 1 is of course 999x, and 1701 take away 1 is just 1700. From there, I'm going to divide across to give me 1x. X is the same as 1700 divided by 999. That's my answer. I'm checking it on a calculator to see that it's correct. It will be correct. Pressing SD to change it into a decimal. And you can see that it's right, except for this little 2 at the end there. That's because the calculator's run out of room and it's rounding it off. Thanks for watching. Please click like and subscribe.